Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 37 of the What the Sheep podcast, where we will be very much freaking out over the cliffhanger that was Critical Role Campaign 2, episode 127. As Lynn put very accurately in the chat, this definitely ranks up there as one of the craziest cliffhangers we have had between both campaigns, I think. Honestly, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So let's not waste a single moment further and dive right into it. Starting with the conversation that the party, well, not the party, but that Caleb had, Astrid, before they went into their shenanigans with the heist.
Yeah.
Astrid doing her best to prepare the party for what is to come, offering words of caution, get in, get out, don't cause a fuss, and you should be fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No, it's just like that was one nice because I like anytime they mention the Solstice Academy and they go there.
mhm,
That's like a nice little tidbit of Kayla's backstory. But I feel more with this episode that I'm on the trust Astrid train. Like I
yeah,
didn't think I would be, but I
yeah,
feel like it is. I feel like she's more genuine, and I don't know if it's because of this scene in particular or like how this episode ended, but I feel like she was saying like, yeah, this is, I'm giving you the best chance of survival here. I'm giving you the best chance of success.
mhm,
Because she like, this would be considered treasonous, I guess, in some extent towards Trent if he found
mhm,
out that she did this. Um, and I think it's just from the idea of like how, well, skipping ahead straight away, how Trent was reacting at the end of the episode that made it seem like he wasn't expecting this,
yeah,
which makes me think Astrid is trustworthy in this sense.
mhm,
Maybe not in a bunch of other senses, but like, yeah, I was keen for that, and I think it was a little bit of a win for Astrid and also for Caleb's relationship with Astrid.
yeah.
Um,
And I feel like there would have been so if Astrid was trying to pull some shenanigans on Caleb, there were so many other opportunities for her to set up a trap. Like when they met at the ballroom, when they met that morning to discuss the
yeah,
plans. Like she could have set something up for him either of those times, but she didn't. So I am on the trust Astrid train as well. I don't think
terrifying
she's
train.
really yeah. I don't think she's really trying to mess with Caleb.
Yeah.
Oof. I do
Shirley?
not. I do not. I do not.
I was thinking that.
What do you think, Kirley? How do you feel about Astrid?
Choo
Okay.
choo.
I want to trust Astrid. I feel
Ah,
like,
yes. Mm.
how is it possible she does not have the teleportation sigil for the sanatorium? How? Like,
I-
even
Trent?
if she wasn't, yeah, even if she wasn't like given it by Trent, like, okay, it's a big place that's like semi just a public hospital. So like, how does she not have a way? And she like does stuff. How does she not have a way? There's holes. There's holes in what she's saying, and part of me thinks, I agree with you, Alana, that like the way that Trent reacted makes me think that it's not like her and Trent, Caleb
Yeah.
up. I think she's setting Caleb and Trent up.
Okay.
I yeah, I
That's
think
another viewpoint I hadn't considered.
so. I think I
Mm.
I I think she's. I don't know. I don't know.
That's
I saw
interesting.
somebody on Twitter be like, "You realize that like if Caleb dies, he has like handwritten notes from Astrid on
Yeah.
him currently. Like
Yeah.
she's screwed if it doesn't end up with Trent dying. But I don't know. I don't know.
So
It feels not good.
are you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm interpreting what you're saying as trying to set up Caleb and Trent as she knew that helping Caleb to infiltrate this, sanatorium could potentially lead Trent to encountering Caleb, and she knows that if they encounter themselves like each other in a hostile environment, Caleb is probably going to lash out and
Yeah.
hopefully, get the upper hand and kill Trent. Is that kind of what you're saying when Astrid is hoping that there is a confrontation because of this whole situation?
I, yeah, and I think she does have the teleportation sigil, so I think she will show up. And I think when it looks like it's, on balance, Trent's about to die, she will like help. Like I don't think she's
Mm.
left Caleb helpless. I think she's going to be like around somewhere. And anyway, that's what I don't trust her. She's up to something, which I don't like. I don't think she's evil. I don't distrust her because I think she's evil. I just think she's had to look out for herself for forever. She hasn't had, beautiful found family moment. And like I just can't see her just being like, I don't know. This is not going to be straightforward. Is basically what I think.
Yeah. Oh god.
True.
It's so messy. Kayla's backstory is so messy.
I know. I love it, and I'm here
Yeah,
for
it's
it.
so good. So good. I remember like when it was like you see Trent Ickathon walking the field, I was like, yes! Fuck yes! So good. Give us the confrontation. But no, yeah, I can see that. I because she has been talking about like, now's the time to strike. I think it would further ruin any chance of a positive relationship with Caleb if it came out that he was like bait or like
Yeah.
something along those lines. Um, but man, I'm excited to see whatever it is.
So I'm trying to I'm fighting with my computer at the moment. It won't render this stupid video that I've worked really hard on making, and I'm really annoyed. But basically it's all like everything we know about the academy and the sanatorium, and so I've just recently rewatched like all of that. And
Yeah.
that he was alone with her in her like not mansion, in her house or whatever. Caleb was alone with her, and she just reaffirmed all she's just like fully still indoctrinated and in it. And although she's ambitious and like potentially doesn't give a crap about Trent, she still like believes in the cause. And so yeah, she had an opportunity then to show some some sense.
I think when you look at like say a character like Dyron, like even Dyron was so like a member of the Cobalt Soul and kind of positive influence on Bo's life. Even Dyron was biased towards like the dynasty because of propaganda, essentially. So you imagine someone that is there, that's on the outskirts of the empire, who is actually their job is to find the truth and everything, to have those biases already. Someone like Astrid, who's working with the Surface Assembly, who's working with Trent, whose like job is to be against the dynasty. You can see how their biases and their kind of stringent viewpoints would be like harder to break. As you said, like she doesn't have the found family like Caleb did. And I'm fairly certain Liam has said that Caleb was evil before having the break. Like as a young person, their alignment would have been evil. Alignments, we can go on about that all day. But at the same time, so they were like an evil character essentially. So we can assume Astrid was similar. It just depends on how her development over the last, was it like 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Possibly, well, was it not 5 years? 10 years? 11 years? How long was Caleb in the? It was a while,
11.
wasn't it? 11 years, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
We've got to think of, would she have had any chance to develop any kind of morality if she was constantly with Trent,
Mm.
if it was constantly like.
Well, like, yeah. The okay, because morality is interesting, right? Does evil even exist? Should we get into this on the podcast? Because I know people are always like, how can you like Essek? He's a war criminal. And people are like, oh, and if evil does exist, is it relative? Is one person's evil up against somebody else's? And is it evil if you think you're doing the right thing? Who knows?
When I'm talking about, when I say evil, I am just talking about the D&D alignment chart, which I don't fully
I
buy into.
know.
Like, yeah.
But like even in their dinner, the dinner that they had with Trent, he mentioned like his own trauma. He was like he kind of saw himself a little bit in Caleb because like he'd gone out on his own and overcome the trauma of his past. Totally like not recognizing that the trauma was like understanding that the
was
trauma
caused by him.
well, no, I think he kind of got that. It was more he still like admired the fact that he had like struck out and overcome it, and he kind of had a sense of ownership over Caleb in that. But like then you think about, why is Trent the way that he is? What trauma has he? It's crazy. The point is, she has not been hanging out with the Mighty Nine, and she cannot be trusted. That is all.
And yet then we have Eadwulf, who is somehow like a paladin or equivalent of the Raven Queen. Who
Where
Yeah.
is
can
he?
be quite, grey herself. But still, it's a bit like, how does that line up?
Yeah, it'd be interesting because Astrid had said during their meeting that Eadwulf was off on a mission. He's off doing something. What do we think he's doing?
Maybe he's going to Essek.
Uh
They found him because the Mighty Nine went to him.
oh yeah, that's true.
Could be that. Could be, I don't know. He could be doing a whole number of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willie, I'm on board. Imagine Airwolf going to assassinate Essek. Yeah, like, I don't know. That would be a real shit time. Because they need Essek for the Tomb Takers.
True. But also,
yeah.
well, no, because Eadwulf, I guess, is it's just weird because Essek, or not Essek, Eadwulf is a Volstrucker, but he's also, multi-class as a paladin, wizard.
Yeah.
You don't really, I wouldn't really consider a paladin to be an assassin-esque type character, but
Yeah, I guess depends what type he is. Well,
because then how would the Raven Queen feel about
yeah, that's my thing.
that?
Like, okay, to be fair, I guess we don't really know what his nature with the Raven Queen is. He could just be a follower of the Raven Queen.
True.
I don't think he might not necessarily be like, an admitted like patrony of her. Like, she might not have accepted him. He might just like to follow her.
People are pointing out in the chat how assassiny Vax was for a paladin.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But I feel like that was a special circumstance though.
Yeah.
Vax wasn't like a hire assassin for hire per se. He used his assassin skills for monsters and crap.
But
I do get it.
Yeah.
would they kill Essek though, or is Essek useful? I feel like Essek is too useful.
I think
Wouldn't it-
Ludinus would be happy with Essek gone because that Essek
Yeah.
is a connection between the Cerberus Assembly working with a member of the dynasty to go behind the backs of the king, which is
it's like
currently the
cleanup.
major investigation against him. Yeah, cleanup. Loose ends.
And Trent probably doesn't give a fuck who he sends assassins after. So if Ludinus is just like, hey, can you send one of your boys out to kill Essek? Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so if Astrid does want to undermine the current leadership of the assembly and like rise to the top, she could have sent Eadwulf to protect Essek.
I still think that's loose ends. I think the Cerberus Assembly is a sick ship, and like if Astrid was smart, she would just get out while she can.
Oh yeah.
But I suppose when it's something's that old and has been around that long and kind of outlasted kings, you would think like, oh, this little investigation is going to go nowhere.
But also, like,
It's
Caleb...
going to end up with the king dead.
Yeah. Like, Caleb got out, right? So he's like... Oh, he's like differentiated himself from... He's got his own identity separate to the assembly and separate to everything that he did. So he got out.
Yeah.
The other two are still in, and potentially Eadwulf has something with the Raven Queen. But Astrid, like, she has to believe that the stuff that they've done has... the stuff that she's done in
like
the name of the Cerberus Assembly, has like meaning and like, you know,
I think...
as I said, people aren't evil, so she has to believe that there's a reason, there's meaning, and she has to like lean into that.
Well, if you think about like when Caleb was describing his time with Trent, it was all about how they were trained to love the Empire. They were trained to love their country. Like the reason that they were convinced to kill their parents was because their parents were traitors. So that kind of love of country or like love of the Empire is, I think, what's been what's the word? It's been like completely like burned into their heads of this is why we do it. So maybe she does have that strong sense of patriotism, and wants to. Yeah, super strong nationalism is never a bad thing, guys. Right? Like
yuck, and also just way too topical for yuck. Yeah.
I mean, art imitates life. So I think it could be that, but she also seems like she's so aloof, and she's so like, I get that's her character, but she's so like kind of, I don't know. It's hard to, she doesn't emote much, so you don't get a sense of what she really cares about. So it's like, obviously her breaking down in the alleyway last episode was a really good insight into how she was feeling. We talked about that of like what that could mean, but at least it showed that she was feeling something. Whether it was sadness or guilt or, you know, just confusion. The idea that like she would have strong feelings to one thing or another is possible. It's just we haven't really seen it.
And that was like on a natural 20, I think, or like a really high roll. So like, that's definitely, you know, Bo kind of saw something that Astrid would never ever normally like let slip through.
Just, I mean, can I just, this is a bit weird. Think about how like when Caleb lost it and like he killed his parents and he lost control, he burnt Astrid on the throat. Surely that could have been healed by like, you think the Cerberus Assembly would have the means of healing that? Do you think Trent like denied the healing of that?
Oh god.
Or did she maybe refuse healing for that? Because either way, it's messed up. But like, you got to think. I mean, it's you know, it's a cool character trait to say like, oh, this is, you know, from our past. But at the same time, that could have been healed pretty quickly with like magic. Not to say every injury should be healed with magic, but at the same time, like, as a spy, you don't want any super obvious physical markings like that. So I just think like, I guess not every scar can vanish, but I just feel like that was just a thought I had. Maybe that was like a fucked up thing Trent did, like to add to the list. Maybe, I don't know. It could just be Matt just gave her a scar.
I mean, she also uses glamour all the time to
true.
change what she looks like. So, but whether or not that means it is the scar or isn't the scar, I don't know. But I agree. There's something very it's a big choice that it's a big choice that the scar is still there. I hadn't thought of that.
I think as Leah said, I think it's more character design. I agree, but I'm just trying to fan fiction this.
But what are we here
There's meaning to everything.
Obsessed about these details.
Where are we up to? So
I mean, there's a lot. We can do a whole deep dive into Astrid's psyche, and I feel like we would never come to a solid conclusion as to what her motives could could be and what she really means to the party and what the party means to her, specifically Caleb. But after their little meeting, Astrid
Mhm.
did part ways, giving Caleb some blueprints
Mhm.
to the sanitarium, and then the party began their planning. They swiftly teleported nearby, and their planning phase begun.
Yeah, and they actually planned
They
um
did.
to
They
some
did.
to a decent extent. They were very, I think they just understood how dangerous this could be. And so with the maps, it kind of just gave them the chance to plan. But they took it really carefully. They were super stealthy, they were super careful not to be seen. They
Yeah.
wanted to, like, even the act of, painting on the latch to be hidden, they did that in such a way that it couldn't be seen as she was doing it. Like,
Hmm.
this is good planning.
Yeah. I also really liked how they, had code names, code words, Team Firestorm, Team Audi.
Amazing. Team Outie. Oh my god. Yeah. Caduceus was amazing this episode.
Yeah. Oh.
Anytime he doesn't get social cues, it's just like perfect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
And
for the most
Yasha. They
part,
were both very very
Yeah,
funny this.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And as Adam had said, can we talk about how much happier Yasha is now? Definitely seemed like Yasha was a lot more, at ease and relaxed and
Hmm.
generally happy. Yeah, definitely nice
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah. Um no, that was nice. I think yeah, like Yasha and Caduceus were kind of having a chill time. I think Ford was keeping his eye on things. But like
Yeah.
it's like team, and that's again another credit to them as players. The fact that, like, for the majority of this episode, like, you think about the second half of last episode, the majority of it was just
Hmm.
Marisha and Ashley and the rest of the cast watched and listened patiently and respectfully. Same thing kind of happened this episode. You had Taliesin and Ashley and Travis not necessarily doing too much, but they patiently listened and watched respectfully. I guess also because it's just, they've said before they like being viewers themselves for their own game. So yeah, it was super exciting to watch. But it is kind of a strength of the players to kind of listen and, let other people have their story, I guess. Because I'm bad at that sometimes as a player. If, like, it's been 2 hours and I haven't rolled a dice, I'll be like, all right guys, come on, let's do something. Like,
Yeah.
but no, it's really cool that they respect each other that much.
Yeah.
Other podcasts I listen to will just tag the other players in as NPCs in those kinds of situations. So like one of them would get to play one of the guards, or like it's
Yeah.
not Critical Role's more like somebody once said it's more like a role playing show that has elements of D&D in it, which it can get like that sometimes. So like they're more focused on the story, but in other places, yeah, I've seen other people tag in as NPCs, so which is a thing you can do at your table so that like people aren't getting bored and antsy just because the story
Yeah.
is not
Hmm.
which like after 10 minutes you're like, oh, just you're okay, but after like a half an
And
hour,
then,
an hour, you can get pretty like antsy. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, no, it was really good. I like they planned, they spread out, um, and it was great. I thought it went pretty well for a while.
Yeah. I
Except
mean,
as Marish, as Bo said, like, and it came down to it at the end. Don't send the two message senders in the same group, and it makes so much
yeah.
sense now not to have done that. But whatevs.
They could not.
Yeah, because that's true. Because I mean, this is skipping ahead a little bit, but that's a good point. Um,
Yeah,
they the party inside had no idea that Trent was showing up
yeah,
and that their time
yeah,
was limited. They
yeah,
they they thought they had all the time in the world. Well, maybe not all the time in the world, but they didn't think they were as under such a time constraint as
yeah.
the watchers on the outside suddenly knew that they were because Trent had shown up.
Yeah, that was probably like, as far as their planning goes, that was probably like the only minor flaw, I think, that kind of set them back. But it did make sense because they needed Caleb in there
Yeah.
because he was like, it's his mission essentially. They needed the rogue in there, and Jester was the one that could get them in and out. So it makes sense. It's just tricky.
Yeah. A little
Dude,
funky.
splitting the party.
Yes, I love it. It's so good.
It makes for some interesting scenarios. Because just like, I mean,
strategy.
yeah. But
yeah, it's a good strategy, but they're so screwed now.
yeah. But it makes it just so much more interesting.
Yeah.
Very scary, interesting, but still interesting nonetheless.
Like, okay. Because I just have to say it and then we can come back to it. But I just can't stop thinking about the fact that for all the people on the outside know, Caleb and Jester and Not are in Nicodranus now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's the code they were last told, is that they're out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can talk a little bit about then, you know, the the horrific hilarity that ensued during this heist. The meticulous, you know, Dexter-esque murder of the guard on the roof that Bo took care of.
Oh my god. I forgot about that one for a second.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, it was a thing, wasn't it? Like
it was.
I know I saw a few people saying like, "Oof, that was a bit tricky," and I get that. Like gore and violence isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
I personally am okay with it. Like that doesn't bother me. But even then, at some points, I was like, "Whoo, whoo,
Yeah.
oh, this is unexpected." I think this was just a ramp up. Like we've seen them kill people before. I think back to when Jester and Not killed the guard in Uthadern, when they're breaking into the mansion, and they just killed the random guard on the balcony, and it was a bit like, oh, that's murder. That's like that's kind of not just, you know, fighting someone. That feels a lot like murder.
Or Jester putting the axe in some guy's head.
Yeah, he survived. He was
still
alright.
brutal.
I think that was a pirate too, so you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember his name. I can't think of it right now. But yeah, that was like, it reminded me a lot of that, except, and it wasn't even necessarily Liam and Marisha. I think it's just Matt's description of it, because yeah, that's what the spell does, and then just him talking about like the blood pouring down and the crushing of the armor. It's like
somebody in
brutal.
the chat, was it Lynn? Yeah, Lynn in chat just said something that I also was thinking about, which is not only did Matt lean into the descriptions of what was happening, he leant into descriptions of what Caleb and Bo were doing. And I agree with Lynn. I still am on the thought process of the reason why Caleb is coming out so brutal, which is not like, it's not surprising, but like potentially is acting a lot more recklessly than you would hope. And the reason why Bo like killed that guy in such a like brutal way is potentially something. Yeah, it's potentially something to do with the eyes. Like is to, because we talked last week about what if the eyes are making them more, is affecting them in some way. Like we said that and not just like violently, but like potentially it's harder to control their emotions. So like Caleb and Bo were kind of softer and like, yeah, I don't know. There was lots we talked about last week about it.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's possible. The eyes, I feel like they have to have some kind of an influence than just an aesthetic, you know, tattoo.
Yeah.
And it would make sense because I feel like while I don't necessarily think Caleb's actions were that out of character for the circumstances he's in, Bo definitely, it felt very out of character to take out a guard in such a way. I feel like normal Bo would have just tried to like knock him out or something.
Yeah, or like just grabbed him from behind and like,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I like that theory a lot, that it's the eyes influencing them
Yeah.
somehow. Uh, but we don't know. We still
Mm-hmm.
don't know anything about the eyes. I do like someone pointed out. It's gone. Oh no, who was it? Oh yeah, Michelle was saying that like that's true. But Matt also described probably the one that like hurt me the most in terms of gruesome death was Veth's kill of the wizard. That was gruesome. That's the type of one that like sent the chill down my spine, because it's that, oh, that description, like through the wrist and into the chest.
Yeah. Well.
That was probably worse, I think, than the crushing. Oh, probably not. Maybe not worse than the acid, but I think it was worse than Caleb's descriptions.
Yeah.
Because that is, yeah, that's a visceral description he gave of it, like shooting through the wrist into the chest and then falling on the sigil and exploding. It's almost comical after that point of just like, yeah.
Yeah.
But man, it was a violent episode, and I was there for it.
Yeah. And I just
Yeah.
love the fast friends that Jester used on Kaimi. And then her like sobbing, realizing that Veth and Caleb are just gonna kill all the guards, and her not wanting Kaimi to meet that same fate. So
I
good.
think that's what made it worse to Caleb's first death, was like how Matt was playing into the whole like, oh, he's just a friendly guard. He's like, oh, my
Yeah.
friends back there, they're trying their best. Like he kind of played up the like they're people too.
Mm-hmm.
But then he kind of, when he saw how distressed the players were, I guess, was like,
Yeah.
you see torture equipment and you see this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Just like, there's your, it's, is that a license to kill? We'll figure it out later.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
but
I liked that a lot, that he like, one, they chose violence, and so he leant into it and was describing it. Like Caleb literally like pushed someone through a tiny black hole that he created, basically.
Mhm.
So like that's not gonna look great. And then and then
Yeah.
after, but then also saw that, not that anyone was like upset, but that it was like a lot. And then I agree. He definitely like chose to add that reminder of where they were and what was happening, to be like, hey, like, no, there's actually, these aren't great people. In fact, they've killed people like,
that
for
are
a lot
better.
less. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But think about too, like they also, someone was saying it was a good stealth mission to the killing. Even with the killings, it was still an alright stealth mission. It was still contained. It was the other wizard. It was the
Yeah.
the wizard that eventually died is the one that set off the first fireball.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what started to give it away. And then Caleb returned in kind with their own fireball. So I think it was going pretty all right. I think it would have stayed pretty stealth until the fireball went off. But that being said, they failed their stealth against that wizard, I guess, by making a bunch of noise. But
Yeah, that's a good point. And then I feel like even like, and there, I'm not saying that anything that happened is anyone's fault or anything like that. Stuff happens. It's D&D. Not everything's gonna work out in your favor. But I think even with those fireballs going off, I feel like it still would have been fine. Because there was the one guard running off to alert the main troop or whatever. And then obviously Trent and gang arriving.
Oh, wait. Was that guard that Ford saw running off, was that Kaimi? Because did Jester lose her concentration on the charm?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think it's at some point someone said, well, I've lost my concentration. And they didn't kill Kaimi, but I kept wondering why, like, where did that card come from? Did they miss it? But I think it might have been Kaimi, like, then running out of the... Yeah, people think it was Kaimi too. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can't remember what she cast, but she cast something and it cancelled her concentration. Oh, Matt did
That's
not see in
super
game at
interesting.
5%. She can't duplicate. Okay, cool. Thanks, Shazar. Shazari? Shazar? Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that
They-
must have been Kaimi then running off.
So they should have killed Kaimi.
Should have killed Kaimi.
Pretty much.
That was their biggest mistake. Didn't kill
Or
Kaimi.
tied him up. They don't tie people up nearly as much as I do we do in our own
Yeah.
D&D games. Like
You have infinite rope in D&D for a reason.
True.
you can roll
Yeah.
if you roll real good, they're tied up a lot. Tie 'em
Yeah.
up.
Well, before we get into the oh no, go
Sorry,
ahead.
in campaign 1 they had like 5 different types of shackles. Or is it in this campaign they started off with a bunch of different types of shackles? And then
Yeah.
Percy
Yeah.
had
Manners.
manners. Oh, Taliesin can name things. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, Nico. I got distracted by shackles.
I was gonna say before we get into the more juicy parts of this episode, let's look at some fan art. Let's look at
Juicy's
some
not a
fan
great
art.
way to describe it.
Oh yeah, that was poor word choice.
Or really good word choice, one or the other.
Let's start with Kirli's. You pick
Oh yeah.
some badass weapons
Oh
that
yeah.
Yasha uses by oh goodness.
love
Imitongit don't know how to pronounce Imitongter.
I saw this fan art,
Imitongter.
and then I was doing some research on on the wiki, and this is the fan art for the for the swords on the wiki. So
dope.
it's not special. It's special to me, and it's very special. But lots of people have probably seen it because Lynn has a great eye. But I had never really fully like pictured the skin gorger before, and I
Yeah,
went
neither
back
have I.
after seeing this, I went back and listened to the description, and this person has it like, oh, spot on. And also, I don't know. I loved seeing the difference between all the different swords and the new one, the one she got from
Kima.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Holy Avenger. All of them are looking badass.
What Lynn would know this probably. What is the lore we have on the skin gorger? Because that sword is fucked. Like that is not a cool sword. That's just a
It came from like
rusted piece of metal.
It came from like a hobgoblin chieftain
Right.
or something like that.
Right. I can't remember, but like
I'll look it up.
It's messed up.
Yeah. That looks brutal. It looks like it can crit on a 19.
Yeah.
I just think
Bodyguard
before I
of
started
Oban.
playing D&D, I knew a sword, just one sword. Just I only knew what one sword was. And now I can name so many different swords.
That's right. It's the hobgoblin on the horse that Caleb destroyed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. No, it's really cool.
The bodyguard of Oban during the fight with Oban's group.
Mm.
And Yasha decided to take his greatsword for herself. Great writing, Lynn. That is a good sentence. Because it makes me feel things.
Yeah. And then Alana and I's pick are pretty similar. So we'll start with Alana's. We have this lovely art by @_Seuss Pie.
Talking about what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I love this. I was in a lot of kind of similar art to this, but like, yeah, and it might be one of yours, Nico's.
Yeah.
Just absolute horrors of Bo, the chaos of Firestorm, and just the peaceful tranquility of the Team Audi.
The greatest contrast ever.
Yeah. Nah. I just like how Yash is like making the crown. It's like it's so peaceful and calm.
Yeah.
Yasha has said more times than anyone else how much she wants to kill Trent, even more times than Caleb kind of equivocates on it, but Yasha's like, even to Ludinus, she was like, when you're ready to take him out, invite me, because I don't like him. So, you know, I really hope that they get the chance to tap her in.
Mhm.
Oh my god.
It's
Yeah.
But
great.
she's like wearing a flower crown the entire time. That would be great for the art.
Yeah, great for the aesthetic. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of sad, but Jester crying was like really. This sounds mean, but it was really funny. Just like her kind of crying to Carmen, like, no, it's okay.
I know.
Um,
But then I loved,
that
I
was
loved, after the first set of brutal kills, um, the part I think maybe it was either Travis or Sam that was like, "Are we the baddies? Are we the
yeah,
bad
yeah.
guys
I
here?"
think it was yeah. It was
Or
like
yeah,
that Mitchell and Webb sketch. Like, why do
yeah,
our helmets have skulls on them? We the
yeah.
baddies. Yeah,
It was super good.
it's so
And then my pick, art by Elfinen Art on Twitter. A
yes.
similar art. The brutality of Team Firestorm, followed by the wholesome flower crown makers
Actually,
of
that
Team
one's
Audi.
super good. There you go. Yeah, it's just so chill. Having
Mm-hmm.
a great time.
Sparkly, the blood splatter on Caleb, the
So
sparkles and the flowers of Team Audi.
It's like the full emotional range of D&D.
Yeah,
Like, here are all the things that you can have, and they can be at the exact same time.
I like Veth and Jester crying in the background,
Yeah.
just
Oh my
terrified of Caleb. But that was one of my one of the moments that I thought was really hilarious. The first time that Caleb crunched the guard, Sam was like,
Yeah.
I just look at Caleb like, what the fuck did you just do?
Sam's reaction, like not even Veth's, like Sam's reaction was
Yeah,
just like open mouth, like horrified.
yeah,
It's pretty good.
yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
so funny.
Pretty devastating.
But yeah,
Where do we think he learnt that one in character?
I think he taught himself that after seeing Essig do it to the Volstrucker in Roshana. One of those isn't correct. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think maybe he taught himself that one.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. But yeah, it brings up that whole point of using dunamantic magic within the dynasty, in the empire.
Mhm.
I saw like there was a lot of discussion on Twitter, especially saying like, "Oh, Essig's going to be pissed." I don't think Essig's going to like necessarily like disown them or anything, but he did have a point about using dunamancy in the empire, because it does look very much like a dynasty attack on a Cerberus Assembly
True.
compound.
True.
We could have some issues, but again, we have no idea what's going to happen with Trent. We have some theories, which we're going to get to, but we have no idea this turnaround is going to be with Trent. I was going to say threat.
Yeah.
Trent.
Trent.
With Trent.
Very threatening.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I mean,
I think it could be real bad, or it could be less bad.
Is Trent even going to fight that hard to stay alive? This is the thing I keep thinking about, is that like...
Do we just want to jump to it, like our theories? Because I don't know.
yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to go about. I mean, there was, Sam getting a bit greedy, but again,
in
I don't
character.
in character, and again, they had no idea that Trent was there.
Yeah.
They had no idea that they had literal seconds to get out of there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And
You get
what did he get? It's like
yeah. So
I don't know.
blue crystal shards.
He described it as blue crystal. Taliesin, I think, assumed that was Residuum made because he was very excited by it, but Residuum's green.
I'm wondering.
Right?
Yeah, that's
Could
true.
it be like refined Residuum? Like
I
Maybe.
think there's an ore that comes from the ore. There's, what is it called? Oh my goodness! There's an ore that's what powers the big cities.
Oh,
I think that's blue.
Um, the something stone. The chat's gonna be broomstone.
Broomstone.
Wow, holy, that was quick. I didn't even get a chance to open a new tab. Wow.
Sorry, it's in my moon video.
Broomstone.
Now I'm just learning about the critical uses of broomstone in which is a real thing in gardens. This is not
Wait, what?
helpful.
Yeah, broomstone is a bluish stone or mineral that a very basic, simple enchantment can cause to lift. I don't think he would have that in Lock and Key.
Yeah.
With like a trick to alert him.
I'm thinking that Woe Nelly has said I think they might be related to the shards that go into the Volstricker's arms.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, like maybe some kind of like adjusted residuum because like it was. Caleb remembers it being residuum. Maybe it's like some kind of he's synthesized it or he's
Yeah, because for all we know, Astrid, Eadwulf, and Caleb were the guinea pigs. You know, that was the prototype, and now this is the more refined version of that.
We met another one that the halfling that was with Eadwulf in the sanatorium when they went to see the when they went to check that the beacon was a real beacon. She had the tattoos and stuff up her arms too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's since gotten more refined and like his gross technique's gotten better. Lynn points out we know residuum can change colors because CADs did. Devilish. I like the idea of synthetic residuum as well. What about oh shoot, I've lost it completely. I got excited by the word synthetic. I can't remember what I was gonna say. Yeah, but like I like the idea that because that seems to be the thing that he would have the most kind of value placed on.
Yeah.
Because one, it's hard to get and it's extremely powerful. So for him to have some kind of like awareness of when it was broken, when it, because that seems to be the thing that triggered him. The trigger was like, oh, I know this red dragon's fake, and oh, someone's opened my chest.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it would make sense for it to be down there with the torture implements too. Ugh.
Yeah. No, I'm fully on board for that because like that's it's a character trait of Veth to like want to loot and to find stuff, and it's what we like, Nico. It leads to more potential conflict.
Exactly.
Was so much like stay on task, and Veth's like, oh, we'll check the other rooms. Like, no, stay on task. If this goes badly, I think, and like they somehow manage to survive with it going badly, I think that's going to be like a massive conversation between them, which is good. Like, once again, you see people like kind of going off on the players. Don't do that, guys. Don't go off on the players. Like it's how you play the game. Like it's
so silly.
Try to enjoy the bad moments if you can. Yeah.
No, I love that because I mean, like, yeah, you know, having the meta knowledge that Trent was there, it's like, no, like just leave. Because even I was like that. I was like, no, Veth, what are you doing? But at the same time, I'm like, oh, this is just gonna make it even more interesting. This is
same with a little skip ahead to like when, like they're saying, Marisha, like Bo jumped down from the tower, and they're saying like, oh well, she wouldn't have seen the signal to go because you're covered in marine layer. Like I think even like Taliesin and Laura were like, no, go. She's like, no, I wouldn't. Like I haven't seen it. Like playing true to your character is always way more interesting and way more better. It sucks for your character a bit, but like it's like it's the good side of that's what my character would do.
I think even this whole thing, like when I'm seeing people like having a go at them for character stuff or decisions in the game, like, okay, even this whole plan doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. Like the fact that them needing the necklaces, I'd love someone to explain to me why that's a good idea. But it's really interesting because in my head, personally, Kiralee does this thing in her head where I go, but it's fun for me to watch all this happen. And even though I think it's a waste of time for the characters, it's not a waste of time for me, and I don't think it's a waste of time for the players. We're all having fun here. I just I feel like that's useful. Everyone should try and do that. Be like, I feel these things for these characters, but also they're in this highly stressful situation, and even in character you can like make reasons why why you would make like a subpar decision or whatever. But if either of you could explain to me why they need these necklaces in the first place, other than it's really helpful to tie up Caleb's backstory before we go into the final arc, that'd be great.
I was with you, because I was like, when Astrid said, all right, they're locked in the sanatorium, I'm like, all right, that's it, off to Nicodranus, let's go. Like, I did not expect them to follow through with it. And I saw a really funny tweet, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who said it, but it was just like, man, they're going to be so upset when they realize that these necklaces all require attunement, and they're all like, are they even going to unattune to an item to use these necklaces? Are they going to be worth it in the long run? Like I said, I love it because it is tying up some aspects of Caleb's story. Maybe we'll see. But it's like, I get that it's useful for the Tomb Takers, but the time it's taking, the Tomb Takers are already on their way. They don't rest. They're getting to the next beacon. Not beacon, the other thing. I was like, and again, it's not, you have so much fun watching it. If I was in that game, I'd be like, let's maybe do something else, guys. That's like probably not worth it. But the end result is obviously we get a super enjoyable episode, which, I mean, if they think it's worth it, then it's worth it to them. It's just like
and people in chat are saying they want to be able to plan without Lucian seeing, and I get that. It's just that two of them are covered in eyes. We don't even know if like that will be like if he'll be able to push through the necklaces and just see anyway. And also, like, they've got maybe a day or two left, right? Like, and then they're going to be fighting like in the same space as Lucian. Like, I know they want to plan without him working out what's happening, and I think that's really cool, but I think they could have potentially done it by just like giving the necklace to one person at a time to go off and like make a kind of side plan, and then all of them not really completely understand what the final one of them one of them puts the necklace on and goes and talks to Allura. One of them puts the necklace on and goes and talks to the Bright Queen. One of them, like, I don't know.
Game the system.
Game the system. But again, I want to
say...
They
don't have probably not enough time for that, maybe.
Yeah, probably not.
Again, I want to say it makes me have no ill feelings towards the cast in any way. And that's what I don't get about people. Like, I'm so in. Let's kill Trent, or like work out what's going to happen in this scenario. And, and if they get the necklaces and then it doesn't work and Matt gets to do like one of the old school like Vecna reveals where it turns out, Lucian has been listening all along. Awesome. Love it. I want to see all of it. It's just, it's all part of the game.
I kind of feel like Matt is the type of DM where he recognizes the struggle that they've gone through to get these things. He will make them useful, or he will make them beneficial to some extent. It might not be like as perfect as they hope, but it's Matt's not one to punish his players for following a clue or like following a crumb that he's laid down.
Do you remember in campaign 1?
You fools! You went to the sanatorium. You fell for my trap. You've wasted all your time. Like,
the amulets are useless.
Yeah,
they don't do anything.
No, Do you remember in campaign 1 when they got that ring that hid them from Vecna, but it happened at a live show. They got the ring, Vex put it on, but you had to attune to it, and she hadn't, and so Vecna just still heard what they
it was like a 10-foot radius or something around it. It was like a very like small radius.
I can't remember exactly what happened, but he definitely like plays around with those mechanics a bit, so I think it'll be interesting.
Amanda Goodwin in chat forward still has the brand on him.
True.
We're just all cool with
that.
Forget
about that again. Like, they brought it up once. So much stress.
We're gonna have to deal with that. But should we talk about what is going to happen? Trent
in the room.
Trent is coming down the stairs. He counterspelled the word of recall. What is going to transpire? I don't think Trent wants to kill Caleb.
No.
I don't think Trent wants Caleb to die. Trent wants Caleb to take his place or just become a really powerful pawn for Trent to be able to use.
Yeah.
So, and Caleb knows that they're pretty tapped, so I don't think he's going to want to fight, at least not right away.
Yeah.
So, as a lot of people earlier in chat and are now saying, it's negotiate time. It's trying to talk our way out of this, because Trent is in the upper hand here. He's got all the leverage in this situation.
And he is a super powerful arch wizard who we don't even fully know his capabilities. So it is that kind of, they can negotiate, they can try to run away again. That sounds like I'm making fun of them. Like, they can try the word of recall again, or they can fight. I agree. I think it's going to be a talk. It's going to be hard, I think, for Caleb in his current state to not want to just kill him.
Yeah.
I think his bloodlust is maybe a bit high. Although Caleb, it wasn't like he was like relishing in the deaths or anything. He was hyper focused.
Yeah.
He was very much on task. But you never know, like, when you're faced in that situation with the person that you've like longed to kill for so long, what it's going to be like. I think they're going to talk, and I think it's going to be. Oh, we don't know enough about Trent. We don't know what he wants with Caleb. We've got a rough idea of maybe like he wants to apprentice him. He wants him to take his place. He wants him to become a powerful wizard himself so that Trent, can claim that. But we don't know if that means he'd be cool with just dying here in this room, or if that means like he wants to be bested in combat. We don't know enough about him to like legitimately theorize, but we can absolutely wildly theorize. Yeah, I think they're going to try and negotiate. He definitely has the upper hand. I think they're going to try and play as if they have the upper hand, but it will go poorly.
I did see someone say that there's a potential, because of the manipulation and the fact that he is, just the worst. Just the worst. There's a potential he just gives them to him. They say, we were down here looking for this thing, and Trent goes, "Why didn't you just ask for them?" Of course,
Yeah,
here you go.
I'll clean up these bodies.
Yeah,
They're nothing to me.
I feel terrible that. Yeah, I feel terrible that you didn't think you could just come to me for this, Bren.
Yeah, I don't think Matt will let them off that easy, because a situation like this, where the party is very, very clearly in the wrong, like they're doing this is literally, treasonous in the eyes of the Empire, what they're doing. And so Trent is going to, just pull out all of his manipulation and all the leverage that he has to make Caleb do whatever he wants for them to get out of this alive.
And like, if he wanted, this could be like, great, he's got the perfect patsies for reigniting the war if he wanted. Like, he could say, oh, the Mighty Nine were the agents, look what they've done. Veth, by the way, hey, sorry, King Wendell, you're going to have that investigation because we're at war again. Like, it could be something like that. But of course, he has his own little kind of personal thing with Caleb, so it might not be that simple. Maybe if it was like Ludinous, that might be how that goes. But I think with Trent, he is so damn creepy with Caleb that there's more to it.
I just had a thought.
What's your thought?
With what Lynn just said in chat. And Caleb will do anything to protect Jester and Veth.
Yes, I was gonna bring that
up. What if Caleb like temporarily leaves the party?
Where's my notebook?
I feel like that is a very, 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 very real possibility.
I had one note in my notebook, and it was Caleb sacrifices himself for Veth and Jester because he is with possibly the two best people and the two worst people for this confrontation.
Yeah.
Best because
True.
they've got his back. Jester and Veth are like there for him, and they hate Trent. Whereas, like, say if he had Caduceus with him, Caduceus might Caduceus isn't an idiot. He's not going to be like, "Hey guys, let's not fight," but he might be trying to go the mediation route a bit more. But like, Veth and Jester are on board, like drop of a hat, they're going to do what Caleb wants. But worst because something happening to them would be the worst for Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought that too, and I was just like, is he going to like say, "Let them go, take me," instead? Not as super crappy dramatic as that, but like, yeah. Or is Trent going to be like, "Hey, Bran, come back with me," and he'd be like, "No," and he's like, "All right, I'll kill this one." Like,
Yeah.
uh.
Oh, it's gross. And what's even worse about this is because when we've had our angsty theories in the past, there was a very low chance.
I'm sorry. Somebody in chat just said, "Why would you put that out there into the universe?" And I feel like, welcome to this podcast.
It's what we do.
It's what we do.
That is
welcome.
what they do all the time.
There's a bit of a counterbalance to our, but at the same time.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Sorry.
Previously, when we've had our angsty theories, there was always a very low chance of them happening. It was just like the idea, like, ooh, what if this? It's not gonna happen, but what if it did? But this one is like, ooh, wait, hold on, this might happen.
Yeah, this is the fuel we require.
Do we have to ban Nico from his own chat again? Yeah, probably.
I did get into a bit of trouble on Twitter because I not actual trouble because I put spoiler warning, but I was like, I'm calling it now. It's going to be a cliffhanger. Trent's going to show up and we're going to have a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
and that was like, yeah, that was like, I think 20 minutes before the end. So like, it wasn't amazing that I thought of it. But then once it happened, people were like, "Caroline, how did you do that?"
You did this, Kirley.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sorry, Nico, I cut you off before, but it's because I really had to like empathize with the person in chat.
No, I totally get it. I feel the same way.
You get the best of both worlds in this chat, in this show, guys. You get the absolute chaotic, feels fest, and the the calm nature of Kirley.
Yeah.
Playing that.
Kirley is the balance.
Kirley
brings the balance.
Oh no.
Which, if you've seen our D&D show, is like hilarious for Kirley to be the balance.
True.
Kirley's a chaotic person by nature, also.
Nico, you were talking about what you think Trent was gonna do.
What's Trent gonna do?
Yeah. I think it's a very, very likely that Trent would be like, "Caleb," or like, "Brennan, if you come with me, I'll spare your friends." I think it's possible, but very unlikely, that he would be like, "Oh, you could have just asked me for the necklaces, and I'll give them here, or I'll give them to you as long as you now owe me a favor." Or so, yeah, you owe me now. I feel like Trent is a little too clever for that, because the party could just not, return that favor at some point. But then at the same time, the favor that Trent comes up with could be something that the party can absolutely not refuse or take him up on.
Yeah.
Well, because he can blackmail them then.
Yeah.
Like you guys both were saying, because he could be like, "Otherwise, I'm restarting this war." Like.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the blackmail, part of what he could ask is he doesn't know as much Dunamis as Caleb does.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Well, do we know that?
I guess that's also true.
Know some.
They've often said like who was it? Was it Veth or Ludinus was talking about how Trent students are like adept at Dunamancy, which implies that like he trains them specifically, or like he trains them with Dunamancy, which goes into the whole, does he know Dunamancy? Is it just because of the Essek side of things? Like, I don't see Essek maybe teaching Dunamancy to Trent, like, does he have some other kind of connection to Dunamancy?
Also,
It was in
isn't
the
that
note,
thing
actually.
somebody was saying, and I could be wrong. I mean, somebody was saying this, but they could be wrong. Was the thing with Eadwulf plucking the drink from like, is that Dunamancy? That like pocket university thing?
I think so. I think that's a common spell. I think that's a conjuration spell.
Okay.
I'm not sure because I think Yusa did something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe yeah. Wrist pocket.
Sandlin had it.
Wrist pocket is Dunamancy. Thank you.
Yeah,
Holly.
because I think it's a Matt homebrew.
Okay.
No, wrist pocket's conjuration. Oh, it's conjuration.
Oh.
Its spell tagged is Dunamancy. Damage effect is Dunamancy, but it's the school of conjuration.
So maybe it's a messy one that they've cobbled together.
Yeah. Weird.
Weird. Before I forget though, I do want to like highlight the fact that Matt really, really loves like physics and astrophysics and stuff. And when that guy got killed by Caleb crushing him, Matt did say, and I just feel like everybody might have missed it. So I really would like to point out that it says he's a bit dense at times, is what Matt had Kaimi say about his friend who just got crushed, and he was making a
density joke.
And I really appreciated it. It was so quiet and so quick, and you can see Matt
actually is really funny.
It was really good. Matt like laughs at himself. Anyway.
Yeah,
that is pretty funny actually.
Yeah,
but
Matt's like, guys, density, get it? No one got it. Yeah. No one at the table was. They're all very focused.
So talking about the possibility of them fighting Trent, there was a Reddit user, Prince of Assassins, went and did like, and I'm sure other people have done so far, but this was the first one I saw. They went and highlighted what everyone has left, in case they do get into a fight, provided that Team Outie don't, bamf away. Yeah, provided they don't.
That's a whole other thing we have to talk about.
Which I think because Liam was saying how like he was ruminating at the end, saying like, oh, if Trent appears, I'd probably send a message to Bo. Like I'm sure they'll resolve that at the start of the episode. Yeah. Like it could just be a quick of like he's here or something like that to let them know, oh shit, Trent's with them. Mm-hmm. But this user has gone through and highlighted all the stuff they have left. Caleb's highest level spell left is level 3. He does still have 10 charges left on the staff, and he still has his free polymorph. But he's down to like 50 points of HP.
Yeah.
I think Jester still has her 7th level and 5th level. What's Word of Recall? I'm gonna look that up. Is that a 5th level?
Either 5th or 6th.
6th, then she's gonna be wanting to save that 7th level for that if they want to try it again. It's 6. So she's probably gonna be wanting to save her 7th for that if they do want to try it again. She still has Channel Divinity, still has Divine Intervention. Yeah, they're all looking a little rough. Caduceus is still in good shape. Bo's still in good shape. Yasha's still in good shape. Veth, I mean, her spells, she's a rogue. She's okay. I would, go check this out. I might post the link in chat, guys, because it is fun. There's a really good conversation. And they actually have this really funny part where they've got Bo, 170 HP, wrestling with ethics. That's that's Bo's current status. But check that out. I found it really interesting as a breakdown of if they do decide to fight Trent, how's it going to go? It's reminiscent of them chasing the Tomb Takers in the middle of the night without resting. And I saw someone say, does Trent have legendary actions? I imagine he would. I think he's probably
and that's another thing we have to consider, because I saw a little talk on Twitter and stuff where it's like, yeah, they should just fight Trent. He's a weak little wizard like Caleb is. Yeah, Trent is a boss level character. He's gonna have way more HP than.
I think he has to wizard. At least have like 9th level spells at his disposal. I can't see
that too.
Not.
Also, to like unashamedly rip something from the Discworld from Terry Pratchett, universe,
Do it.
those like wizards, if there's a wizard at the top, like wizards are always trying to like knock each other off, especially if they're not meant to like work together like they are in the Cerberus Assembly. So in like Terry Pratchett, they're in like a university, so it's a similar situation, and they're always knocking each other off. So the wizard at the top might seem really old, but if it's a really old wizard in an academy,
Yeah.
they've like killed a bunch of other like they're so powerful. So like he's pretty much at the top and is very old. Oh, he's going to be very powerful.
Yeah, and I should clarify, when I say weak little wizard, I mean HP wise, like 90 hit points. Weak little wizard. Obviously, he has immense power.
Yeah,
but I feel like even his HP will be juiced up significantly.
Yeah. Well, they did say that Delilah Briarwood was in the Cerberus Assembly, so there's also potential that he could just like have other things going on. Matt always describes him as being jaundiced, so it would be interesting to know if he's not done a bit of a Voldemort and gotten like a way to preserve himself, even if he does have low HP.
Yeah,
would not be surprised.
Because in reality, in D&D world, I guess age isn't really a factor either. I guess in power, it's probably just more of a more certain thing. The older you are, the more powerful you could be. Because like, look, Allura was like in her 30s or whatever when she was with Vox Machina, and she was a high-powered poison. And so, yeah, I definitely see him as, I don't like the idea of Trent with a clone. I've thought about that like for a very long time. Or Trent with the contingency spell is like my nightmare, because that spell is messed up.
He's gonna pull it out next episode.
All of Caleb's memories are fake, and he is Trent's clone.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
God, that's a one. That's a theory.
That's a one. Yeah, that is a one. There's a one right there.
I rolled a one on that one.
Oh no, that's not what I meant at all.
What about if, because of like the high intensity emotion or whatever, the Sum Novum can see what's happening, or Ludinus can see what's happening, and suddenly Caleb gets a whole bunch of more power, actually kills Trent really, really quickly, very, very easily, and then we get like Power Trip Caleb, where he's like incredibly powerful because of this connection to the Sum Novum. Like,
I like it.
Okay.
Power Trip Caleb is like the title of my dreams.
Yep. Dark Side Arc Caleb.
Yeah, it's like that episode of Buffy where Willow goes like Super Saiyan. Am I too old? Is this too old, this reference?
No, Buffy's fine.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Willow gets like super, super powerful and changes the world and stuff. Because that would be really cool if suddenly he just, without even having to try very hard, just suddenly had so much power that Trent was like a stick that he could just snap.
Ooh, I like it.
And then he could do anything.
People are bringing up such good points in chat, because then there's, obviously divine intervention that could save their asses here if it ends up working out.
Cool. I just on that, the idea of Jester casting her, because she hasn't had a successful divine intervention yet, right? It's been canned twice. If her divine intervention worked, I cannot even imagine how Artigan would like interpret divine intervention, or like how Matt would roleplay that. I think in a scene, if it's like Caleb and Trent going at it and then Artigan is thrown into the mix, that's just like roleplay, like roller coaster. Like, that would be amazing.
Really good.
That would be cool. Yeah. But yeah, there's so much that can happen.
But then Adam brought up a really good point too. That one sending to the Cobalt Soul could undermine anything Trent tries to do to blackmail the Nine. The Assembly is still under investigation.
Yeah. I think that would be like, though, like if Jester was to send a message being like what would she say? Like, oh, we're with Trent, he's going to kill us or something. Like, I'm not sure what she would say that wouldn't come out as heresy. like if the Confronts all try to use it, because I just like, well, yeah, but they were agents of the Kryn, like they broke into our place, because technically, even though they're doing what they need to do for the necklaces, technically what they're doing is illegal by the laws of the land. So, yeah,
And
they're
the
not in
Covert
the
Club don't have like ultimate power. Like the
yeah,
Cerberus
they're not
Assembly
an
is
authority.
incredibly, and
Yeah,
everything that it's pretty much like known that Lewdness and the Martinet and like
same.
the all the power structures know what Trent, like they don't have new information about what Trent is doing.
No, and no one in the Cerberus Assembly trusts Trent.
No.
That's been made evidently clear.
But
Which is
then
why
I feel like they would sooner trust Trent than the word of the people who allegedly led Veth to her death. Essentially.
I think they're very good patsies. The Mighty Nine. I think they've set themselves up accidentally as very good scapegoats.
Yeah.
For a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Again, like the situation they find themselves in is literally what Trent has been waiting for. I feel like he has been waiting for this moment for them to fuck up this horribly.
And he has them in a position of power.
Yep. Which just makes it even worse.
That's why I think though, like Veth and Jester being there are the best choices because they're the least intimidatable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I guess. Although on the flip side, they're also the two with like the families and like the very publicly known families. Like Trent knows literally about Yeza, whether or not he's made the connection. I'm sure he has, but like that halfling in Felduin was Veth's husband. But I mean, that was what was freaking me out initially when like they were going in stealth and everything, and Jester's telling Kaimi about her mother, the Ruby of the Sea. I'm like, no, like, don't leave your name. It's like leaving a calling card, like your address on it.
It's Caleb's worst nightmare is like Trent is caring for people and then Trent using that against him. You're right. Oof. Oh dear.
Yeah, that's like been the running theme from like the early episodes. It's not been such an issue recently. I think he's come to accept like oh, these people are here of their own accord and we're a family now. But yeah, I remember like just before Felduin, I think it was episode 48, the one that ended with him and Felduin. That's when he and Bo had like that arguing match of them both saying how much they cared for each other, but like it was like they just weren't talking at the same level of how that like Kate was saying like I don't want people to care for me because I don't want to care for people because you're in danger, and Bo's like, well, you don't get to choose that, and there was a whole kind of like
it's after
hilariously frustrating conversation.
It's after the first time they talked to Yusa and Caleb was like, we can't talk to extremely powerful wizards. Yeah,
because that's them leaving Nicodranus, I think, to go back to Felduin. Yeah, it's just like two people saying the same thing, just not getting it.
Yeah.
If my computer ever starts working, I have a video of all of these moments that you've mentioned, all back to back. But it might only ever have just been for me, maybe.
Yeah.
So what do we think is the most likely outcome? We've talked about a bunch of different things that could happen. What do we think is most likely going to happen?
I don't know, and I don't think Matt knows because, like he said, like that's why the episode was so short. It was like under 3.5 hours. He was saying depending on what happens next, it could either be really short or really long. So he's preparing for it could be a fight, or it could be a negotiation, or it could just be a simple, sort it out. I agree with Willie. I think they're going to talk. I think it's going to start that way. I think Trent will try to like maintain control of the situation, but he's a little shit, Trent. I don't know if you know this.
He is a little shit, isn't he?
Pokes and prods, and I think he's going to say the wrong fucking thing to Caleb, and it's just going to be like, oh well, fuck this guy, like, and it might set Caleb off. Although Caleb is smart. He knows he needs to protect his friends. But I think it's like there's only so much a person can take before they're like, well, fuck you, man. I'm just gonna fireball you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I think Matt will let them like at the last minute save it and have everyone stay. I think it would be way too like complicated.
That'll be horrifying.
But like that's what was going to happen. Like that was the code. The code was we're fine. We're out. You get out. So like that's what would happen. But I think because they're still caught up, they're not all together. Like I don't know if word of recall you have to be like touching or whatever. Yeah. So they have a little bit of time to sort of be like, actually, no, we're not fine. Please don't leave. So I think he'll let them do that. And then I think, he called it early because he's got a week to work out how this is not a TPK, because no one will find it fun to TPK. Like I think at a regular table, basically they've done that thing where you know that thing that happens sometimes in D&D? It happens a lot when people play the starter set, the Lost Minds of where you accidentally miss you miss the town and you go to the final boss really quick and you work out that that's the final boss.
Black Spider, I'm here. He's like, all right, you're dead. Level 1. Cool.
And so sometimes you work it out and then you can retreat.
Yeah.
But often what happens is it's like, oh no, actually everybody dies. And
you
for
backed
some
me into
tables,
a corner, gang. I have to kill your characters now. Like,
I gave you so many warnings not to like. I told you this was very powerful. I told you to go to the little town, but you did it. So like that's really fun at some tables. I've heard. I don't know. I've never killed a character. I try, but I'm bad at it. As a DM, if anyone wants to give me tips on. If anyone wants to give me tips, I would really appreciate it. I've played so much D&D and it's not that I want to, it's just that I feel like there's a reason why it's not. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But it wouldn't be fun for it to happen in Critical Role. On Twitter, Derman, they were saying like, okay, so he's got a week to work out how narratively this is going to make sense. And I think that's so exciting. Like the fact that we can think of so many theories as the DM, he's got so many ways. There's so many ways this could go. And hopefully not in a TPK way. Because
I get that. I get that and I agree. Like, he's got this week now to like, and the scary thing is it's already happened. Like they filmed this episode already.
Yeah.
But I agree. Yeah, like he's got this week to figure it out. But part of also being a DM is laying the groundwork beforehand of the threat. And I think he's done that sufficiently with Trent. Like they know he's a threat.
Yeah.
So if they decide now to go into a fight with him, that's not so much bad planning in the DM of like, oh shit, they accidentally missed the town of Phandalin. Like, what am I doing? That's like, oh no, they purposely went around that town and went and fought the powerful mage. It's too perfect, that analogy. But yeah, like
I don't know. I think a TPK or a fight is the least likely outcome. I think Caleb is way too smart to pick a fight with Trent given the state that they're in.
I think the same. It depends on what's being said. Like I said, I think he could
also be true. Yeah, also true.
Like if there's like a wisdom saving throw involved, like, but I don't see but from what we know of Trent, I don't think Trent wants necessarily a fight like this.
No, he doesn't want to kill Caleb. If anything, Trent has made it very clear that he doesn't want to kill Caleb. He probably had dozens of opportunities throughout his life to do so. If anything, if a fight does break out, Trent won't try to kill Caleb, but he won't give a hoot about killing Veth or Jester. Which is also very sad. But at the same time, Trent doesn't care. All he's cared about this whole time is Caleb.
I think he does vaguely want to keep Caleb not on side because he doesn't have Caleb on side, but like he wants to keep being able to manipulate Caleb. And I think if he killed, he would know if he killed like the people that Caleb has come to care for, he would no longer have any kind of control over
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm just, I do think potentially just honesty happen, because that's been a bit of a theme with Caduceus, like practicing like really intense honesty. I think there's potential that if they just explained the like the somnovum or whatever, I don't think they could get out scot-free. I think they'll be blackmailed or something will happen. But there's the potential that they could just like explain the situation.
Yeah.
But no, I think there'll be a fight. I think it'll just be a fight.
Yeah. I don't know. My question is, does Jester have modify memory prepared?
Oh wow.
I don't think she doesn't have the ability to like cast it. She doesn't have 9th level, but like she could just clear this whole mess up. Like,
Yeah,
you know.
she could. That would be clutch.
It would also be very poetic.
Oh, that's so true, Adam. She always has it prepared.
Oh.
Yes. Do it.
Oh,
that would be
boy.
Trent. But the best she could do is 30 days. But still.
If it gets them out of the situation they're in, that...
Yeah, you remember 25 days ago you said we could come here and grab this stuff. Like, chill, Trent.
Yeah.
Which is why we've killed these 2 people.
I feel like his wisdom saves are going to be through the roof, though. And he probably has legendary resistance.
Oh, yep, that too.
Definitely has legendary resistance.
That too.
Oh, dear.
But you know what can't be legendary resisted?
What's
Divine Intervention.
Yeah. Yeah, Divine Intervention to cast 9th level modify memory. Man. Yeah.
How much so like Caleb burned a bunch of his spells trying to dispel and bring down the protective shield. So how much magic do you think is actually blocked? Like, I think it's pretty hard to block divine magic, but like,
it's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean blocked?
Well, he couldn't dispel.
Yeah, it can't be dispelled. That's just a feature of Wall of Force, that it can't be dispelled.
Oh, that's
it can be destroyed, just not by dispel magic.
And it can be disintegrated. It can be destroyed with the shatter spell. Disintegrate. But what's his face? Liam forgot that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bitch spell. It's like, oh shit. Yeah. But
okay, so that's the only reason why it was so blocked. And then the reason why the Word of Recall didn't work is because it got
counterspelled, assumably.
We're guessing at what it was since Matt had rolled behind the screen.
I'd just be worried about what wards and protections are in that room. I don't know whether, even if they want to fight, how much they'll be controlled.
Yeah. How long does contingency take to cast? Because I think if that's something you can do on the fly, then but I think it takes a little bit of time. But I imagine he's the type of wizard to have that spell. It's a 10-minute casting time, so that's something he would have to be prepared for. But I mean, yeah, it could be like, if he gets attacked with a spell, it automatically sets off like an unlevel fireball. Like, he's like too prepared, I think, not to have something like that in store. If they do fight, which would be cool, but they probably won't.
I mean, disregarding all of the things that attack him externally, he also is making these like he every day is making living bombs around him with all of the Volstrekkers that he has control over, and always there's a possibility that they would stab him in the back. And so I would say he's going to be warded, protected. It's going to be off the charts. I don't think I agree with Nico. I if this ends in a fight, I don't think it could possibly end in a fight.
Kirli, is this an angsty theory from you?
No.
One of us.
One of us.
No. No, I'm just saying it won't end in a fight. Is what I'm saying.
Ah,
Mm.
well, that would be our misery. So,
Yeah.
in a way.
True.
But then there is the question of whether or not the meta question of whether or not the Somnovan is the final arc, and we want to like tidy up some things before the final arc. It would be kind of nice to just tidy up this Trent issue now.
Now you got me thinking it's going to just be a full talking thing, because I feel like it's going to be like, hey, it's cool, you owe me a favor, or like, and then that's going to come into play later, because I don't see the Cerberus Assembly disbanding themselves in the next 2 days that it takes the Tomb Takers to get to Aor. I think it's going to be, I think there's going to be way more after the Tomb Takers arc. Well, depends how that goes. How is it that that's not a thought anymore? How is that
Right.
that's like not even concerning anymore? They've had too much fun, and now this, like,
There's a whole city coming, guys.
guys, it's real bad.
It's very, very bad. I can't keep both those things in my head at the same time.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tyler. Chained Oblivion all the way.
Yep.
At this stage, how about we just let it happen? Like, just
Well, it really feels like the party isn't going to be able to stop the Tomb Takers, especially given whatever happens with this whole Trent situation. They may not be able to stop them from getting that final crest and then bamfing to the Astral Sea to unleash the city.
They're definitely going to have to just go. They're not going to go to. Maybe they won't go to Aor at all. Maybe they'll just have to go straight to the Astral Sea.
Yeah.
Because they can do that now, because Jester's got that ability.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably what they're going to have to do.
Because if they destroy the city, then it can't come back.
But then they don't even know how to destroy this city.
I mean, everything burns, Nico.
Magic missile.
Yeah, Caleb would know. Caleb would know.
It's got like 10 HP.
Yeah.
It appears, because the Astral Sea is like space and like dimensions and kind of size is weird in space. Like, you can't get the field of depth. It appears and it's like this big. It's like,
Yeah, and it feels like this city is like the home of the Somnovan, and we all know Caleb is really good at burning homes. So.
Oh, why did you do that?
That was cheap.
So I think we're fine. So I think we're good, guys. I think we're good. I think problem solved.
Yeah.
I don't feel better. I feel worse.
Oh my god.
I'm getting yelled at. I'm getting yelled at from chat now.
Yeah, you deserve it. I can't even see chat anymore, but I agree with
Guys, it only fuels us if you shout at us.
Yeah. I've learned from Brian the countless talks episodes where he throws in the shade.
You're not meant to learn from Brian.
That's it.
That's like learning from Rick and Morty. You're meant to just like.
Hey, Rick's a smart man.
No.
Oh my goodness.
I love Brian. That wasn't me having a go.
Yeah. Do we have any other final thoughts, feelings, emotions, concerns, questions about this episode?
Why?
Yes, just why?
I live in hope. I live in hope that like Astrid will rock up. Potentially Astrid and Eadwulf will rock up. And they kill Trent, and it's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also am going to have a little hope. I ultimately don't think I want to say I don't think anything awful is going to happen. I really don't think so. I think they're going to be able to talk their way through this.
Yeah.
I think they may end up owing Trent a favor, or Trent may get some leverage on them at some point. But I think that's going to be the worst of it.
Yeah.
If something awful happens, I'm clipping that out and I'm blaming.
a few moments later. Like,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, no, I agree. I think they've got too much on their plates with the Tomb Takers right now for this to be an issue. um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's something that might come back later.
Or the animated series is getting really stressful. They've got too much on their plates. They lean into it. It's a TPK.
Yeah, they have a few months now to just focus on that.
Yeah, they're getting too excited about campaign 3.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Could be it. They're just like,
I mean, you know.
we're done with this one. Let's just move on to.
Yeah.
Did you watch
Yeah,
the
No one likes these characters, anyways.
Did you watch the
Yeah.
interview Matt did with Philip DeFranco?
I started
That
watching it. I haven't finished it yet.
Oh, okay. The takeaway quote was the fact that Matt let on that they sort of dream about taking the game back one day and like having it just to be theirs, like just a private game again. Like his thought is that like they will pass on the legacy of Critical Role to a new cast and there'll be new shows. It'll still continue, but they will like be back drinking mimosas back in there. Back in somebody's house one day and it'll be theirs. Anyway, I think that is very sweet.
That's the most depressing thing ever said on this podcast.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
Yeah,
It's sweet.
100% get it. It's sweet. My heart just died a bit inside. But no.
I have thought about that though, and I feel like that is a likely scenario because I mean, well, when are they going to end campaign 3, 4, 5? Like how much longer are they going to go with it? And I feel like they could potentially get tired of doing these live shows, but then as you said, passing the torch on to a new group could definitely happen.
It's important to enjoy it while we have it, and then
and
appreciate that one day, like everything beautiful in the world.
Life's pointless without death. So
true.
That's not what I said.
Quote it. It's what Keely said.
Something's only beautiful if it can die. So,
but I mean, we know there's going to be a campaign 3, and we know that's going to be at least another 3 years ish of stuff. But then I feel like campaign 3 could potentially be the last one. Just because they might then want to focus even more on the animated series. There might be some stuff they want to do with campaign 2.
I think maybe like some short run campaigns, like a couple of episodes, or like a bunch of one shots. That'd be really cool.
I really am excited about like if people want to get up, because I feel like I somehow brought us down. The animation is going to be incredible, and also it's going to bring this story to, like, I have many people in my life who I have not been able to convince to sit and watch Critical Role, including my husband, who's like, I really want to try, and then just can't. Like, it's too D&D, it's too long, it's too anyway. But like, we'll absolutely eat up like the animation. We'll love it, and there are so many people like that. And I'm so excited for that to come out. And so we've got it's not the enjoyment of it is never going to stop, guys.
Yeah, no.
And then it will die. But yes, that's a really good point.
But on those lovely sentiments,
I'm just a shit. I just like to start trouble.
Yeah. But on those lovely sentiments, I believe we can go ahead and wrap up. As always, thank you all so much for joining us. This was quite a stressful episode to unpack. And I feel a little bit better. But also maybe worse. And we do, Adam, we do have talks tomorrow, so maybe we'll get some more insight on what the party thinks they should do and all that stuff. And it is actually in Marisha, so we'll get some good Boyasha stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yay. That will help. That'll help.
Yeah. But be sure to tune in this Friday for the new episode of the What the Sheep podcast, where
Yes.
hopefully things will be okay. And we won't be having a breakdown live on stream.
Cut to us just wearing all black.
Yep.
Like.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hopefully that does not happen. No Hit Dice Heroes this weekend.
No, we just had it yesterday. Wait, no, that was Monday.
A few days ago.
If you don't normally watch Hit Dice Heroes, watch our most recent episode.
It was a
You don't
good
have to
one.
watch anything else. Watch our most recent episode because Nico's character Hikari has an awesome fight in a fight pit, and it's so cool. You don't even need any backstory. It's very good.
It's actually a good episode too because we go
Yeah.
through a bunch of like what's happened so far.
True.
Who was that character again? Where did I get this item? Yeah, it's a good kind of jumping in.
Our most recent episode was a good recap episode to just jump right into it. Definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, no new episode.
It's called Hit Dice Heroes.
Yep, Hit Dice Heroes. You can follow us on Twitter at Hit Dice Heroes and on Twitch, Hit Dice Heroes. And on YouTube, Hit Dice Heroes. Hit Dice Heroes pretty much everywhere.
And Instagram, Hit Dice
And
Heroes.
Instagram, Hit Dice Heroes. Be sure to check us out.
Yeah.
But anyways, again, as always, thank you all so much for joining us. People who are tuning in live, chit-chatting with us in the live chat. It is so wonderful, as always. And thank you to everyone who's going to be watching this on YouTube or listening to this on Spotify, Anchor, wherever this podcast may find itself. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful, fantastic, glorious rest of your morning, day, evening, wherever you may be on this wonderful earth. And we will see you all on Friday.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. I really like licorice. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, licorice is good. Licorice is good. I will fight people on this. Licorice is
Sounds
great.
real bad.
Yeah.